All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to our 5th of 6 matches on the day. Man, for some reason, it was really hard to say that, but thank you for joining me today. Of course, I'm LDV on the Summit. You are watching Starladder Season 8, and it's Fnatic versus RoX.KiS. This one is a really important match for both teams. We've had like 2 or 3 super important matches as far as the playoff goes today. Sigma's both of their matches, they played versus PR earlier, as well as RoX.KiS. They did take down PR, then they lost to RoX.KiS. So RoX.KiS now have the inside track to finish ahead of Sigma, I do believe. And, well, on the flip side, we are going to Fnatic. Fnatic looking pretty good so far. They are sitting at, I believe, 9-3. Come in, yeah, 9-3. Whereas, let me double check here, make sure I don't get anything wrong. Yeah, RoX.KiS 11-3, Fnatic 9-3, Alliance 11-3. So on paper, these 3 teams have like the inside track right now. But either RoX or Fnatic will have 4 losses after this game, which means the loser is in a bit of trouble. Then they're competing with Sigma, maybe with Na'Vi, although Na'Vi's 12-4. So even though they've got 4 losses, they've picked up quite a few wins. So less chance of them dropping down, despite the additional loss there. But either way, well, it's time. Fnatic versus RoX.KiS. What's it going to be? I have not cast much Fnatic lately, but they do love their Wisp play. We might see a Tony here. A little Wisp Tony. They definitely don't have to go for it. But it's a Fnatic opening, right? Like most teams wouldn't open with a Wisp this early in the draft. DK is the other big one, but everyone else kind of ignores the hero right now. We saw some teams experiment with Wisp occasionally here and there, but nobody's like consistently picking it. Fnatic, the one team that's never given up on Wisp. They've been faithful from start to finish, and they'll continue to be so here today. So they go Wisp CM, and this frees up the lane, the pull lane, to make sure Wisp can get a lot of experience, or they can even look to dual lane mid. It's possible against OD, but there's not really like a great, even like a CK Wisp isn't that great against OD nowadays. I mean, because you don't actually get the stun on Tether. And he can just banish one of you, like usually the Chaos Knight, if he hasn't gotten his stun off yet, when you jump in on him and just look to run away. So I think more likely they'd look towards something like a Gyro, maybe the Tiny that I mentioned. We'll have to wait and see. As for RoX.KiS, lane dominators were their choices. Timbersaw, OD, fairly self-sufficient solos, heroes that can really, if they aren't given a lot of pressure, one of them will get big, and that could be trouble for Fnatic later on. Nothing too unusual so far. Razor, Storm getting banned. Razor, just a really strong counter OD in lane. I don't really like Razor for Fnatic though, because I think Hani's just much better on those like Snowball, not Snowball, but like those heroes that can actually use farm and be equally high impact later on. Which Razor can be, but it's harder for him to do so. So things like Invoker, the Storm Spirit, even Queen of Pain to some extent. To me, those are more what Hani's most comfortable with. At the same time, they don't match up that well against OD. They'll still go for Invoker. He probably matches up better than some of the others just because he's got really long range, and you pretty much can always get Forged Spirits out. So you have the flat bonus damage from Exhort, you will have the Forged Spirits as well, and you should still be able to last hit okay in lane.
Fnatic's turn to pick.
Also, as well as just deny runes with the Forged Spirits and help scout out ganks. So Fnatic gets a bit of a global option here, picking up the Invoker. They still have not picked the Tiny's partner yet. Something should be coming soon, though. They may save it for... I think if you have someone specific in mind, you do want to grab it now. Gyro, probably... I would say if you want to grab one now, it's probably Gyro, because Tiny... Like, if I were RoX.KiS, I'd probably look to ban the Gyro over the Tiny. The Tiny's a little more one-dimensional. He needs quite a bit more farm in general to really hit his stride. But we'll see. Luna was the pick for RoX.KiS, so they get a very strong late-game Tricore. Heroes that need a lot of farm, they don't have any stuns. Just, well, Lucent Beam, I guess, and Astral, but no real stuns. They don't have a great tempo controller. So, a bit greedy. And I think Fnatic will, well, they will go Tiny. So they go for the greedier of those 2 carries, but hey, RoX.KiS aren't really looking to get aggressive. Quick Reply will be the Tramp Protector. We'll have to see where they look to use the Living Armor, but Timbersaw would be kind of the logical choice. Timbersaw with Reactive Armor and Living Armor. All the armors for Timbersaw. Yeah, probably not going to die. Wisp CM Tiny does do a decent amount of damage. And Avalanche does a lot of small instances of damage, so should chew through the Living Armor pretty quickly. Lich the ban from Fnatic. So just a little bit worried about getting crushed in the lanes, it seems like. They're just basically saying, we know you're going to have the edge in some of these matchups. We don't want to get crushed too hard. We know we need levels as well. So they don't want to deal with like a Lich Timbersaw in the off lane, because then their Wisp doesn't have a good start. So it's a decent ban on the Lich.
5 seconds remaining.
Because if you have Living Armor and Sacrifice, that's just like... And you have OD, like you're just going to crush the lane so hard. So you can kind of see the way Fnatic's approaching this draft, and just making sure that they don't fall too far behind early, and then banking on Sunstrikes, great relocates, and just their expert use of Wisp to carry them through the mid game into the late game. I'm very sad we're not seeing a Flint Beastwood, though. Someone's pointing out that is Era's avatar. That's a Han hero. It's Sniper, except like way better, because his nuke hits an area, and anyone who's in the AoE instantly takes like, well, pretty much instantly takes like burst damage, and it slows everyone for the duration, regardless of if they run out of that AoE. So his scatter shot is way better, basically. He's actually he was a really broken hero for a while. That game was weird. Like you could disassemble Sanj and Yasha and build I have Scotty gets built from Sanj in that game. So you could build Sanj and Yasha, disassemble it, and build it in a Scotty Manta, which is just like a ridiculously strong build. But yeah, Halberd Manta is okay, but Scotty Manta is kind of ridiculous. As well as just actually having a good build-up for Scotty. Well, that's neither here nor there. A little Han history lesson for you guys. Yes, I'm Han trash too. I played Dota 1 for years, starting like 2004, but I did cheat on Dota for a little while, go to Han for a bit. But I've come back, guys. I've returned to the fold. Don't lynch me. The Darkseer will be the final choice for Fnatic. Wow. Well, Darkseer is obviously very good against Luna. Illusions of her are really strong. Isn't that good against OD? And he's really good against Illusions. The just pure damage and AoE of Timbersaw are pretty good against Illusions. So Fnatic must just be getting this as like... Oh, I was going to look through the bans and see, but yeah, there weren't that many good offlaners left in general, so... That's probably their thing is like, hey, it's an offlaner that's okay, and Treant can't really... Treant Luna is actually pretty bad at zoning Darkseer out of the lane, to be honest. As Treant just doesn't have any like proper disables until he hits level 6. Luna has Lucent Beam, that's okay, it's not great. So, no matter who they put against the Darkseer, he should get his levels. Even if they tried to tri-lane him, which I don't think we'll see. RoX.KiS probably going for dual lanes here. But on that note, guys, it's time. RoX.KiS versus Fnatic. Both teams sitting at 3 losses. Fnatic at 9 wins. RoX.KiS, I believe, at 11. So a big match for both teams. They both really need a win here. And we'll start with Team Fnatic. They played less games in Starladder, but they've looked impressive nonetheless. Can they reprise what they did last season and return to the Season 8 finals? We'll find out. Or start to find out now. No-Tail on the Wisp. Everybody loves No-Tail. Era going to be playing your Tiny Trixie. He always makes the games interesting for Fnatic. I think we can put it that way. On the Darkseer, Fly will be playing the support Chrismate. And that puts Hani, who's really been impressive as of late, onto the solo mid Invoker. He'll be going for what's become a very popular build. I've seen quite a few players doing this, which is that early Basilius. Just helps you get some much-needed mana regen. Allows you to deal pretty nicely with the OD Astrals. You're still getting some, even if you've used some mana, you still get a flat amount back every so often. And it just helps you push out the lane. But RoX.KiS are going to make a wrap around here. They do see No-Tail and Era. They're going to start with a Poison Touch, but he can just tether back. You'll notice they Delta split, they run to the left, and then they tether back. So, nicely done. Just good Wisp play. And, well, on the side of RoX.KiS, we have the Russians. You're going to be playing your Shadow Shaman. Oh, sorry, Dazzle. Shadow Priest.
The battle begins.
Talking about Dota 1 and Han just got me all mixed up. Godblack on the Treant Protector. BZZ is perfect on the Luna. Scandal will be playing your solo mid OD. And Sadoy will be the safe lane Timbersaw. So, looking at the lane matchups, it looks like they don't want to put their supports against Darkseer. And they want to punish the Wisp early. Those are the two main considerations here for RoX.KiS. So instead they're going to run a Timbersaw versus Darkseer. Timbersaw doesn't do particularly well against Darkseer, though, because, first of all, he can creep skip, which he'll probably look to do now, and Timbersaw can't really punish that. And the other thing is that Reactive Armor doesn't help you against Ion Shell damage. So, double Ion Shell, you can actually go aggressive and come out on top. early, so I would say probably an advantage here of the Darkseer. At worst, it's even. The middle lane, OD and Tree versus Crystalmate Invoker. Tree's just kind of useless in this matchup, so I think Goblack just doesn't have a home. And this is the one downside of the... This is the big benefit of the Darkseer pick. When you go for Darkseer against a Treant, it's like, what is he going to do? He can't zone the Darkseer. If he tries to go to the pole camp, Trixie can just come and steal the experience. So all he could do is maybe go and hunt Fly and try and leech his experience from the jungle. Will he find him in time? Oh, nice play from Goblack. Oh, did he get the... I think he was just out of range. Yeah, he did not get the experience, unfortunately, I don't think. But still a good effort, and he can just bully Fly out of the jungle. Man, look at those club smacks. 88 damage. I do like the fact that Goblack's getting active, though. Like, sitting mid isn't going to help the OD. You can still living armor him from the jungle. And he's not going to do anything top, really. At least not without a few levels. So instead, he'll just punish the CM, try and leech her experience. But Fly is going to jungle from a fairly safe location. So now Goblack rotates towards the top lane. No-Tail actually took a lot of damage here. It looks like a Loosen Beam. Poison Touch, just a few right clicks. Remember, it is physical damage, the Poison Touch, and No-Tail has 0 armor. So is vulnerable to the additional right click power that comes from the Luna aura. That's plus 28 damage between the two. They could actually go for a kill here on Goblack if he's not careful. Or sorry, on No-Tail if he's not careful. Goblack has relieved the pressure, though. And now Goblack just going to creep skip. Looks like he's going to pull the enemy creeps. No, he can't do that. Now they go in on Era. No-Tail's come back in, and back into trouble it looks. Oh, if they got in range for a Poison Touch, that would be first blood, but can't do it. And while that was happening, the Crystal Maiden came mid. Fly manages to score first blood on the OD. So, my first missed kill of the day, I believe. At least, like... Well, there was action top, so I don't feel too bad. But it's been a good run, guys. I'll see you next year. Which is in, like, 4 days. It was a good run, though. And, well, they get a first blood on the solo mid OD. That's a big kill, obviously, because OD, very tough matchup 1v1 for anybody. Even Invoker, who I mentioned, does decently with Forged Spirits, but it's still not a great matchup for him. So getting that kill now makes it much easier to deal with. The early Basilius does come out for Hani, and he'll now build an old Talisman, so just getting a lot of plus damage. And just constantly being harassed. Sitting lacking mana, but he'll be okay for now. As for our Wisp, has rotated back. No-Tail's going to be looking to do a bit of pulling here. But I feel RoX.KiS are pretty well equipped to contest the pull. I wouldn't have minded seeing Goblack just actually continue to hunt Fly in the jungle. Luna Dazzle is a bit squishy, though. That's the one concern. If you leave them alone, Tiny Wisp, but they get a good initiation, can actually just kill them. So we'll see BZZ perfect. Is perfect, Yol and Goblack all contesting the pull. Fly's going to rotate through. He does have boots picked up. No smoke at the time being. Is going to be checking the 4-minute rune. And Trixie will as well. So rune definitely going to Fnatic here. RoX.KiS just not getting the levels they would want. Dazzle Tree. These... I wouldn't say Tree needs a ton of levels, but you really want to at least max living armor and get your ult. Those are the two big objectives. And to do that, you need level 6, level 7, something like that. So No-Tail now taking a lot of damage, but not dead yet. They'll go on Era instead. Leech Seeds there. Lucid Beam as well. That additional right-click damage that comes from the Luna. Doing a lot, but not enough. They will get out. Good Wisp play, as usual, from No-Tail. Bottling up through the tether, and now Era will salve himself. Probably could have salved No-Tail, but not the biggest deal. Now the Poison Touch comes out. Just harassment. The one lane we have not looked at, really, is the Timbersaw versus Darkseer, and, well, early on, even. Very even matchup. The one thing is the bottom lane is always under pressure, but hold that thought, because they've gone on Era top lane. Now the Poison Touch comes. This should be a kill, unless Avatos almost gets one. Gets nothing. The Dazzle keeps them alive. Now No-Tail's going to fall. Sunstrike! Say hello! See ya. Beautifully played. Nice Sunstrike from Hani. Has he been on point or what lately? I feel like Hani ate his spinach, and he's been eating it every morning for the past few weeks. Because he had, I wouldn't call it a slump, but Fnatic definitely had that down period after TI3 where they really were struggling. They were losing to teams that they never would have lost to, like heading into the event. Just were out of practice, maybe weren't comfortable with the version, the way teams were drafty, but boy, if they turned it around. Now they go on Scandal middle lane. They wanted a Frostbite. They can't quite find it. Living Armor turns it around. Yeah, they're still going to keep on chipping away at him, but ain't getting that kill. So looking at the trade bottom lane, I don't think there's a huge advantage for either team. I mean, even if, let's say they had even farm, we'll have a quick disconnect from BZZ, but both heroes offer a lot to your team in the early fights. Obviously, Timbersaw just does a shitload of damage, and Darkseer can get the fast mech. And Fnatic really need that. That'll help keep the Tiny alive through Tether, giving him the double mech heal, and just generally a good item for Fnatic to have, because the Darkseer like is their team fight. And later on, Invoker can be a big part of it, but through the mid game, he's just more single target damage. I would actually say, I think the main reason if I'm Fnatic, I'm fairly happy here is just because my supports are getting a... Well, actually, no, those kills top turned it around. Okay. I thought they were ahead in terms of experience, but giving up the kills top, Invoker got the experience for this kill, which wasn't really ideal. Yes, Wisp is only level 3, Crystal Maiden level 3. Normally they would be ahead, because Crystal Maiden can jungle and the two supports of RoX.KiS cannot, but the multiple deaths in the top lane, as well as just RoX.KiS doing a nice job of leeching some of the pull experience, like this camp in particular, has turned it around. So, score 1 for RoX.KiS. OD having a slight advantage mid in terms of, well, actually dead even in terms of CS. Yeah, both solo lanes quite even. I don't think there's a clear advantage. It'll more come down to the mid game execution. We will have to wait and see. So far, well, guys, thanks for joining me. It's been an interesting day of Starladder action so far. My first time doing like a long day of streaming in a while. So this is game 5. We have one more game coming up next, and that one will be Mouse Sports versus OSG. I believe neither team, yeah, both teams are well out of the running for the playoffs, but you know, just fighting to not be knocked down to the what's it called, the Pro Series. It's funny because they call it the Pro Series, but then there's like, so you assume the pros play in the Pro Series, but then the real pros play in the Star Series. Man, Starladder's fucking confusing. What the hell, man? So yeah, we got 2 kittens at the house, by the way. I'm taking them to the vet today. They're really afraid of me. So it's a brother and sister. They were rescued together, and they're actually doing pretty well. Like from everything I've read, like they're, you know, the signs are good that they're not going to be crazy feral cats. Like they're eating food. They're, you know, they're using the litter box. They're like fairly house trained at this point, I guess you could say. But the problem is they are like terrified of me. If I ever come near them, they just run. I did the whole like, oh, get down on their level, you know, lie down so that you're not like a giant looming over them, like a Titan and Attack on Titan. But no, didn't work, guys. The cats don't like me. My old cat liked me, but she was already full grown when I met her. So, what's she gonna do? What's she gonna do? Does that like say something bad about me as a person? Does that mean I'm like an evil person if the kittens are afraid of me? I don't know. You do the math. Come to your own conclusions. Alright, here we go. It was a bit of a prolonged pause, but we're back into it, and RoX.KiS are now ready to resume, so we see No Tail as well as Fly. You can see Fnatic really put a lot of emphasis on these runes, securing them for Hani, and, well, I think more just making sure that RoX.KiS don't get them. Invoker, obviously not a hero that really uses the runes, but they're putting a lot of emphasis, kind of like, oh, well, they'll go in mid now in Scandal, but Godblack's in position, in Sunstrike will fly through, but Scandal, he turns it around, he's going right on Fly. No, not able to get the kill. There was a quick frostbite there that allowed the Crystal Maiden to disengage. We'll now see a rather cocky Midas coming out from the Luna. But hey, Tiny's not really doing much. He's level 4. Your Wisp is only level 3. Why not? Get the Midas now. That'll get you a very fast level 6. In fact, should be able to eat one big creep and get it. But here comes Trixie middle lane along with Fly. 3 heroes marching in. And in they go. They do have 1 point vacuum. The value point. But it's you know, it's just playing against living armor. Like, you think you know what to do against. Obviously, and in theory, you know, Fnatic understands how living armor works. They realize on paper that, like, you know, you don't want to overextend, you don't want to dive too far. But in practice, it's just one of those things where if you're not playing against Treant regularly, it's a game changer. And they tried to make a go on mid, but realistically, that was a very low percentage kill, even if they got the initiation because of living armor. So now BZC gets his Midas and I think he picked up a big creep. Hits level 6 off of that. And now the pressure mounts. They're going to start diving Narrow as well as No Tail. Look at Goblack just strutting on in. They've still got some heals available. They've got 3 points of Poison Touch. It's the very aggressive build. Just a casual toss. That's a warning shot from Era saying, get the hell off my tower. Fly will march in as well. The key is going to be these solos. Can anybody join the fights? Obviously, you've got Sunstrike. But I don't think Sunstrike's really enough against this RoX.KiS tri-lane. Like, what you really need is an actual, like, TP and a Cold Snap, maybe a Darkseer TP. They need to be ready to bring a few heroes top if it comes to that. Because RoX.KiS are, with Eclipse up as well as Dazzle, are very strong at this stage of the game. But they're going to go for a bomb. Just kidding. I thought they would toss in the Wisp, but they tossed in a Creep, and I was very sad. Now a Value Midas picked up on the Darkseer as well. Right as the action heats up top, I mean, that could be the makings of a mech. BZZ, he's got Eclipse here. He's going to pop it. It hits nothing but creeps. It hit one beam on Era. That's all she wrote, though. Era will go down. Nice job using the Shallow Grave, keep him alive. And with the Dazzle heals, they can't actually get the kill. BZZ still kicking. I think he's got one more Lucent Beam coming up soon. They might lose Sadoy here, though. He's taking a lot of damage. They've rotated everyone in. Hani with the TP. The Sunstrike, way off the mark. But he was great earlier, so we can't flame Hani for that one. But Scandal's AFK farming mid during this time. Invoker is delaying his Midas a bit. I would say...
Dire's middle tower is
I'm trying to read
under
this cat advice.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Hide my skin. Cats are afraid of skin. They don't understand it. I guess they have fur, right? So they don't know what skin's like. Okay. Sorry, I got distracted there. But Fnatic aren't crumbling, and they did go for the Midas on Darkseer. I mean, the main thing right now is just get level 6 on the Wisp, and then try and set up some kills. Fly's a bit under level, but he can catch up in the jungle. And they'll go in top on Sadoy now. There's your Sunstrike. Toss him up, drop him back down, but he Timber Trades away. Living Armor. Once again, the difference maker. Now they turn around on No Tail, who's actually taking quite a bit of damage. Even through the Basilius. That physical right click really hurts. And now they rotate Luna bottom. And at this point, it is going to be hard for Darkseer to lane against the Luna. I mean, he'll have some backup from Sunstrike. But Luna just such a good matchup against Darkseer. She hits so hard that she can easily deny Ion Shell creeps as soon as possible. She can also just deny any creeps that are dropping low to the Ion Shell, and she can hit pretty hard too. So not the easiest matchup for a Darkseer in lane, especially with this amount of farm. But they go in top now. Has been spotted by the lane ward of Fnatic, and they should probably look to retreat. Hani's hanging out mid. He's always got a Sunstrike available to be invoked. No Tail just doing some zoning here, so both teams just content to farm. I'm not sure that there's like a clear advantage as to who this favors. I feel like Fnatic are the weaker team right now, especially with a Midas and Darkseer, which could be most of a mech. I mean, it's going to work out for him, but this could be a very weak window for them. Since they're not being punished, they're getting closer to getting level 6. I'd say probably Fnatic are happier with the way this laning stage is developing, but it's still a very close game. It's still anyone's game, and as you can see, gold experience right around 250 to 500 differential. Basically nothing. Now they get double Midas. Relocate's not too far off. And Trixie just goes woods. He'll just continue farming the jungle. He just uses Midas. He's got the buckler pretty much at this point. Well, it's a pretty slow game, but it will heat up in the mid game. Like both of these lineups take a little while to fully come online. Obviously, if you're RoX.KiS, you want the Luna BKB, you want the max living armor, at least 1 point overgrowth. Dazzle's pretty useful, but you'd love to get towards 10-11 where he really hits his stride. And this OD is quite poor, actually. Only 3k net worth. He's a good 1.5k behind Hani. He's got a death, he's got no assists, he doesn't have a Midas. Hani's got a kill and an assist, so understandable why he's behind, but they're going to make a go on him now mid. Maybe just force the TP and then retreat out. They actually rotate as well with the Tiny and the Crystal Maiden. The Wisp and the Crystal Maiden. They only leave the Tiny top. And Scandal could be caught. Trixie, level 3 vac. Ready to drop it. Nope. He'll get Astral. gank is over.
Radiant's middle tower is
The
under
gank
attack.
is officially over.
Radiant structures.
And then RoX.KiS seeing this say, let's send 4 mid. Let's fight. Hey guys, it's time. BZZ will be pushing in the bottom lane. I think he's got his Ogre Club. Yep, working towards the BKB. But while that's happening, in comes Scandal. He's going to start with an Astral. The tower's fallen though, and suddenly he's caught out. He doesn't have a defensive Astral. The ODO not doing a whole lot. In comes the Timbersaw. They need an Overgrowth. They don't have level 6. Oh man, if they had that, then they get another wave of nukes. In comes BZZ, straight to the front lines. He's going to have to Eclipse here. He is going down one way or the other. Maybe not. Yeah, he's going down one way or the other. Now Yol, next in line, 2 dead. Make it 3. RoX.KiS just self-destruct. They make it 4! 4, and now... a relocate back to base. Okay. They pick up the mech. I thought they might even relocate forward to go for the last hero, but it was a full HP tree, which would not have been advisable. Oh, Twitch chat, how I missed you. How I missed you. Fnatic will go into the Roshan pit, and with the mech they can do it. Forge Spirits, they do have double Forge. Yeah, they could definitely do this. RoX.KiS do have a ward, but this ward does not actually see the path they took, which is this one. So RoX.KiS don't have any idea. Nice, good game sense by Fnatic. They took a really nice fight mid. Just kind of like a sloppy engagement for RoX.KiS though. They didn't have Overgrowth available. OD just got caught out of position. Then Luda just kind of TP'd in front of the tower, where she was really vulnerable to getting picked off. Could have TP'd further back. Just felt like RoX.KiS were not really organized about that engagement. And while that's happening, Fnatic will claim the Aegis. They give it to Hani. You'll probably see them give the Aegis to the Tiny, to Era, and to the Tony, as it were, in future fights, but probably not in this one, because right now, Tiny's not really that strong. Treads drums, he still needs Ags. You at least want the Ags before he really comes online, and ideally one more item after that, so... I like the choice to give it to Hani. Also a little bit more, a little bit easier to kill, only 1100 HP, slower and just kind of clunkier in general. But Fnatic now they get to hit their stride. They start split pushy a bit. They've got their mech online, so and level 11 on Trixie, 2 points to the ult. This for me is the ideal Darkseer build. You don't want to max vacuum, get the 2 points to the wall by level 11. You only need 2 in Surge. This is pretty much the perfect build, because now at level 11 he's got mech, he's got Midas as well, and he's fully online. Now they go on Yol, on the top side of the map. They toss in the Wisp, they get the Tether stun. The Tether slow, I should say. Now Yol needs to like TP out immediately or something, but doesn't do so. Avalanche into toss. Does get Astral. Actually, they go back. Sunstrike. Oh, so close. So close. Could have been amazing. It wasn't, but it was still alright. That was tough though. Hani just like threw it out there, tried to just mentally time it. Didn't have time to like actually watch the ring that expands outwards and figure out the exact timing. And he was close, but just not quite. But no cigar. No cigar in the end. Well, for RoX.KiS, they dodge a relocate gank. And ideally, as soon as you do that, you're like, okay, great, we can force a fight now.
Dire's middle tower is
We can gank anybody, or we can just go on the Tiny Wisp, which is always an option, since then they're not relocating to reinforce their teammates. And they look to make it go on Hani bottom, but he's got his Spidey senses tingling. He's going to TP out, and he dodges a bullet here. Fnatic continuing to farm, and how up to 2.1k on Era. Wow, really? Okay. Era's going to go Midas. Now, obviously Midas is general... Oh, bottom lane, hold that thought. They're going to get Trixie. No mech? Oh, he had an Invis rune. Just waddles away to safety. Nicely played. Barely able to live. And they devoted 4 heroes to attempt that kill. That is a lot of space created. You know, as much as people will like... I know Twitch chat and, you know, some casters like to flame Trixie for, you know, feeding, but... There's usually a method to his madness. He creates a lot of space compared to other, like, more safer offlaners, so... Kind of like the Havost of offlanes, where sometimes it looks really awful and you know, Trixie, what the hell are you doing? But a lot of the times he just narrowly escapes those ganks, even if he dies. Space created, so well played by him. But yeah, Tiny Midas, the weird thing about Tiny Midas is you can just get Ags, and Ags accelerates your farm like freaking crazy. You can just farm huge stacks of Ancients. Obviously you do get the levels, but they're going to relocate on bottom. They go on BZZ is perfect now. Era as well as no Taylor here. And with no BKB, that Luna's just total food. So it's a bit weird, but it helps you get level 16, and Tiny is a hero that really wants to have the level 3 ult. Some heroes it's not that important, but for Tiny it makes a big difference. So that kind of makes sense, and well, you'll still get your Ags at a pretty respectable timing. And you can still be ganking during this time, so I guess it promotes like a more aggressive Tiny playstyle where you're not as reliant on ancient stacking. You can just get mass Midases and then go ham with your reload kick ganks, your Sunstrikes as well. I don't know though. I still feel just going Ags first is the more solid play, but it's working for Era, so you certainly can't argue with the results. Hani going for his customary make Merlini proud boots of travel. These two guys are like bots addicts, just straight up addicts. I mean, I remember a game where Hani just went naked. It was like bottle, magic wand, boots of travel, storm spirit. No mana items, no talismans, nothing. No bloodstone, no orchid, just straight bots. And it actually worked. Because, yeah, like, sure, you have a really shit mana pool and you've got to go heal after every gank, but you have boots of travel, so it's fine. It's not that big of a deal. So I've talked a lot about Fnatic just because they've been playing, like, making the more interesting choices I get. But as far as RoX.KiS goes, they obviously have a very strong late game on paper. OD, Luna, insanely strong damage. I think where they're really going to struggle is they're not that great against BKBs. They do have Overgrowth to go through them. Eclipse doesn't help you against BKBs. OD's generally weak against them, unless he gets off a really quick Hex. Which Scandal isn't farming in this game. I mean, Scandal didn't go Midas. He went double no Talisman boots, which you almost never see. I'd say like 90% of ODs now will go Midas at some point. Maybe you get your Force Staff first, maybe you get a Mech first, then go back for it. Or maybe you skip it if you're farming really well. But to be farming poorly and skip a Midas, like you can really see the network difference now. The OD mid against Invoker, 3k difference. And let the Rat Dota accelerate. Trixie goes for a Necrobook. Interesting choice. I think Shiva's would have been really good here as well. But Necro can really punish RoX because they've got no BKBs yet. And it helps you split push. So definitely a solid choice.
Dire's middle tower is under attack. Dire's structures are fortified.
And RoX.KiS will go for the tower mid. Can they take the tier 1 down? Will it get denied? It will be. Trixie karate chop to deny it. You don't really want to be going on him right now. Aegis to be reclaimed in 3 seconds time. He's going to get off a back, a wall. Now the OD ult comes through. It does decent damage to the Eclipse as well. Actually working out really well for RoX.KiS. They're going to lose the Wisp. That's 2 down. Wow. Worked better than expected. Goblik just miraculously lives. I believe Shallow Grave kept him alive there.
Radiant's top tower is under
Yeah, Trixie got... what? I think he got Lucent Beam mid-vacuum. Because his vacuum got cancelled, and now Era's going to take a spill as well. So they lose 3, and 2 cores at that. Midas Tiny doesn't have his Ags yet, unfortunately. I mean, even if he had Ags, that would not have made the difference there, though. He still needs more items at this point. Just an awkward fight for Fnatic. I think they were really counting on Trixie getting off the vacuum wall immediately. Then you've got Illusions. They tank most of the Luna Eclipse. But that Luna Eclipse did a lot of damage. Whereas normally against Darkseer is really good against Luna. I mean, not only does he create the illusions, but he gets an illusion of the Luna, which hits very hard. That's normally. Wasn't the case in that fight. The BKB came out for BZZ just at the right time. Really nice engagement for RoX.KiS. What more can you say? I think now we'll see them just farm towards their next round of items. I don't think they're really like ready to start forcing fights aggressively. And where they really struggle is their lack of mobility. Timbersaw's mobile hero, that's it. Fnatic have a ton of mobility. Darkseer is very mobile. They have the relocate ganks, which can come from anywhere. And they have Boots of Travel Invoker. So Fnatic, they're really the more finesse-oriented lineup for now. For now. That will change eventually once Tiny gets the big stick. Tiny is really the Theodore Roosevelt of carries. Speak softly and carry a big stick. And we'll see if he can do it here. The big stick is coming soon. He needs 470 gold to pick it up. Hopefully RoX.KiS can force a fight before the next Roshan, though. Because if you give the next one to Fnatic, then by the time that Aegis wears off, Era probably has a C, maybe Manta. Although I don't think Manta's a good choice this game. OD just murders illusions. But he'll have his next item, I guess, is the point. And you'll notice he is going Quelling Blade, which might seem curious, but it's really not, because that does work with your Aghanim's additional bonus damage, and the cleave will splash through as well onto creep, so really accelerates your farm a lot. It's very similar to getting a Midas, or sorry, Quelling Blade. Jesus Christ, my brain is a mess today. The Quelling Blade on Anti-Mage with the Battle Fury. So very similar in that regard. Just a very efficient item that accelerates your farm a lot. And now we'll see a smoke from Fnatic, and they'll go straight into the... Are they going Rosh, or are they going to farm their Ancients? Smoke to the Ancients? Wow. Fnatic were worried that there was going to be like a ward here, and then RoX.KiS would just jump them at the Ancients. I guess. It's the only reason I can think of why they would have smoked there. Well, it wasn't the case, and now Tiny just literally picked up his eggs, now suddenly has a BKB recipe. Let the farm wars commence. As farmed as Luna is right now, you do not want to let this Tiny have like 5 minutes to farm, but they are going to Astral him off the bat. They'll look to go on him quickly. They have some lockdown. They need an Overgrowth here. Can they Force Staff in Godlike? I think they could have Force Staff into an Overgrowth. Would have been a bit risky, though. If he just gets chain stunned and they lose the tree, then the fight's probably lost, and... No, they decide not to do it. They back off. And meanwhile, Hani just strutting up mid, split pushing, and going Necrobook, so... We'll just see Fnatic go for, like, 2-3 Necros and look to Rat Dota with their secondary cores, the Darkseer or the Invoker, while the Tiny Wisp just farm the Tiny until he's 6-slotted. That seems to be the game plan for Fnatic. They drop a toss mid, and despite living armor, that ain't gonna save you. Theodore does it again. He takes down the tower mid, and the wall was deployed here just to slow down RoX.KiS, but they can just chip away at this tower. The wall will now end. They do get a Manta on the Luna. Tiny's going high ground. This is not a good trade. They glyph, but they lost 3/4 of their HP on the tower, and now, as soon as the TP's out go, Fnatic are gonna look to jump the backline here as they go straight onto the Treant Protector, and he is dead. This is Fnatic just really executing Tiny Wisp well. Well, any Wisp combo well. You push a lane, you force TPs back, and then the second that they start TPing back, you jump the backline heroes who are retreating on the enemy team. Well done. And Tiny in particular, this is where you cannot trade buildings. Sure, they got a tier 1, but they lost 3/4 of their HP on this tower. And the glyph's down. So the next time that happens, with 2 Necrobooks and Tiny Wisp there, they lose Brax, I would say. Maybe the Tiny dies to get them. Not a good trade, my friends. Not a good trade.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Now Fnatic going to be pushing the bottom lane in, and
Radiant's bottom
Era just going to be slap chopping away. In comes RoX.KiS looking for the backstab. Can they find Notel? He did go for the Vlads, which is, to be honest, like a pretty greedy... I mean, it's a really good item for to have when you have a Tiny on your team, but it's very greedy in the sense that RoX.KiS have an amazing amount of magic damage and non-physical damage, and Vlads ain't going to do a thing for you if you get just caught by, like, a Lucent Beam. You're probably dead. You are RoX.KiS feeling confident to go into Rosh. Should they? Should they, though? Level 2 Darkseer Wall, 2 Necrobooks online. Necrobook number 1 will come in. Rosh at about half HP. They haven't jumped in yet. They can relocate into this if they want to do so. They've got a BKB on Tiny. It's a really bad time to fight. Scandal has a BKB. Needs to pop it. Now he drops the OD ult. It doesn't do that much, though. The Overgrowth comes through. The Tiny held in position. Luna's beating him down quickly. Luna's doing it. Nope. Now the clubs. Trixie still alive in the pit for the time being. Era clubs the Luna. Drives her back. There's one more living armor. Looks like No Tail... is still back in the fight. He relocated out for the time being. Now Era giving chase. He's got an avalanche. He's got a toss, but I don't know if he's got the damage to bring down BZZ. One more right click. He does it with the big club. Now sticking around. May have overstayed his welcome. In fact, he's still alive. 10 HP. Toss him back. So Doi can't finish him. Is there a Chakram? Cold Snap. He might go down. Avalanche. He will go down. Double kill for Era. What a play. What a play. So, No Tail... Oh, he did buy back. I was going to say, I thought he died in that fight, and then he relocated back in. And indeed, that was the case. The plays. The plays. Era doing it again, guys. You know, I wasn't sure about the Midas, but it's definitely paid off now. This thing is for sure paid for itself by this point. 5, 3, and 4. 15k net worth. That honestly looked like a pretty good engagement for RoX, because that Overgrowth caught everyone. Luna was almost able to bring down the Tiny. He dropped really low, but wasn't quite able to finish the job. Trixie, I think Trixie ended up living. He like hid in the pit, and everybody ran, and he just ended up surviving barely. Rough fight for RoX.KiS, and they're not the kind of lineup that... I mean, on paper, their heroes scale well. The problem is they're just not... They don't really farm that quickly. OD's not a fast farmer, especially without the Midas. Luna is quite a fast farmer, but it's only a Luna, and no one carry lineup is going to outcarry a Tiny Wisp. That just is not going to happen. Especially not with something like a Darkseer and a pretty farmed Invoker backing him up. This is where you really need a farmed OD. You need him to have like the makings of a Scythe at this point, but he's sitting at sub 10k net worth. His own Timbersaw has more farm than him. So Era now sitting on 3k gold, and at this point you can go a few ways. You can go AC, which really helps you to backdoor. You can go Butterfly, which is really good against Luna. Or not backdoor, but just break buildings, I should say, in general. Manta is okay, but as I mentioned, OD's with his Arcane Orb is really good at killing Illusion, so... And there's no silences or anything that's particularly good to dispel with a Manta style. So I would lean towards Butterfly here, maybe AC. Either one would be a pretty good choice, though. I don't think there's like a clear better one. RoX.KiS will try and play some catch-up, but they are definitely not in the position they want to be in. You go Luna, you go for OD and Timber, so you expect to win those lanes and the mid-game to be yours to control. You don't go aggressive against Tiny Wisp to find yourself in this situation. It all goes back to just one bad fight at Roche. It looked good. Big chuck back from Era, barely able to live. And now Fnatic can just kind of play with their food. Cheap Boots of Travel into one lane, drop a Necro Book, maybe relocate gank if you go after that hero. Darkseer can do a similar thing. And don't do this to me. Oh no, my Dota crashed. Not again. Come on, Dota 2. I do apologize for the crashing, guys. I think it's like a driver issue or something. Just haven't had a chance to fix it yet, because it just started happening today. So hopefully we don't miss a huge team fight tough. It looked like one was brewing. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm going to be really sad if there was a big team fight. The good news is I'm 3 minutes ahead, so you guys don't hate me yet, but you will soon. You'll hate me in like 2.5 minutes. Can't we just be friends? Can't we just be friends? Yeah, game's looking really good for Fnatic, though, overall. Having the Aegis up, having not the better late game lineup necessarily, but in terms of farm distribution, their farm distribution is way superior to RoX.KiS's. We'll probably get back in and the base will be dying. That would just be the worst possible thing.
Radiant's bottom barracks are under attack.
Well, Age is still up on Tiny. Did nobody die? It looks like they had a big engagement, but nobody really went down. Looks like they're rat doting the bottom lane. No buybacks were used. Okay, guys, we didn't miss too much. Hopefully I don't crash again. Goblik's gonna get caught out now. Tossed up. Drop back down. They do deploy Sentry Ward. One more right. Click that tree. No match for the big club. Tony wins. Meanwhile, while that was happening, Scandal does manage to pick off the Wisp. Isolates and blows him up. Not a bad trade, but here come the rats. The Forged Spirits, the Necrobooks. God, what a strong combo. They'll go for the ranged barracks, the reason being it has no regen anymore. So that's why you see teams tend to focus it more, whereas before they would focus melee Rex more so. Now a Sunstrike. Oh, he was worried. He was very worried. Yeah, so Hani was figuring, Scandal's going to try to juke this Sunstrike, so I'll just randomly choose a spot that's not the middle of the well, and not the entrance to the well. Which is just smart, like, meta-game play, I guess you could say. Now BZZ, it's up to 4k, but Tony's got the AC. So if this game ever goes south for Fnatic, which, I mean, right now it doesn't seem like it is, in fact, well, it's going south in terms of the graph going down, but it's looking up for them, if that makes sense. If it ever does go bad for them, which I don't think it will, they can always just resort to relocate backdooring, sending in Forged Spirits, Boots of Traveling to those. There are so many ways for Fnatic to just rat their way to victory that At this point, RoX.KiS really have to force mistakes or just pray for mistakes. As we'll see Fnatic moving through the river into the Radiant jungle. There's a Blink Dagger picked up on the Invoker. Interesting. So going just for a Blink Cold Snap, I guess? He'll Boots of Travel top. I guess it helps him just to rat. Because it's a split push, as it were. Because you can be more aggressive and then just blink into the trees and TP out, things like that. So gives Hani a little more mobility. There's no Hex, but eventually he'll build a Hex, I imagine, and then it will be really useful. So now the Aegis will expire on our Mr. Tiny, but it's done its work. It's gotten him an AC. It's gotten him another 4k gold. He is filthy rich. Luna's going to build Butterfly. Butterfly isn't that great against Tiny, because he can always just use Cleave, and you can't evade the Cleave. So he can just right-click something besides a Luna, and it is pretty good. It's a pretty good way to deal with Luna. So, I mean, maybe we'll see Era go MKB next, but he definitely doesn't need to. Butterfly's a decent... like, you still kind of need it. You don't want him right-clicking your main hero anyway, but... I don't know. It's not like the almighty solution that it can be against other physical damage carries. Rock in a hard place here for RoX.KiS. That's what they're trapped between. Era in the top lane, he's smacking the creeps, the Forward Spirits come in, and they'll start backdooring mid. It's just like 20 different points of attack. And sooner or later, Fnatic are going to say, okay, these guys are just slightly overextended, they'll relocate in behind, and they're just going to blow up somebody. Like, if they can instantly kill the Dazzle or the OD, fight's pretty much over. And they'll look to jump in now. They do start with a Frostbite here. Now a Deafening Blast comes through while that's happening. Top lane, dropping fast, but the wall gets deployed. Where's that relocate? Not bothering yet. They're just working on the Rex. They almost kill up EZZ. He's forced to retreat out. And the Rex is dropping fast and furious. One slap. Down go the Illusions. Tiny is doing it. He's killing your base. If Winter was here, he'd be having flashbacks. Yol does manage to get off a shallow grave, but that's okay. They're killing bottom lane. It's 2 lanes of Rex down. Fnatic have done it. They've taken 2, and with that, I'd say pretty much secured the win. They still have buybacks on, let's see, four heroes with buyback. They'll get the next Roshan. Yeah, it's like pretty much impossible to come back for RoX.KiS. Maybe they do one huge play straight down the middle lane. And Era goes Basher. Interesting. There's only one BKB on RoX. He can get whatever he wants, honestly. It's not too much to read into it. He's just really far ahead, and let's have some fun. Get a Basher. Summon your inner Bashlord as the Tiny. And make the RoX.KiS suffer. It's funny, because RoX.KiS were very successful at slaying Sigma's Rat Dota earlier, but I think what Fnatic are showing here is that they have really mastered the art of the Rat. They're next level in terms of being able to just execute better and drafting really strong lineups for this kind of play. RoX.KiS have not even played that badly. I just feel like they've kind of been outmaneuvered more than anything. And there was an Abyssal Blade pickup on Era. I think he sold something for this. They are now going to relocate. Yep, straight into the middle lane. Backdoor the Rex, get the Mega Creeps, and RoX.KiS are now, it's all or nothing for them. It's going to turn into a base race here very, very quickly. But I don't think it's a base race they can win. Tony beating on your base. He's got a lot of damage here. Alacrity has been used on him. That's pretty much it. It's going not even down to the wire. Tony's easily going to come out on top here. Give him Alacrity once again. RoX.KiS, their gamut has failed, and it's failed rather horribly. The Radiant base will fall in a matter of seconds. The throne down to 580 HP. It's not even going to be close. One more slap as soon as the glyph ends. See ya. The Rex are dead, and the Radiant have prevailed. Fnatic, they do what they do best. They take down the Radiant base, and they secure a very just simple and clinical Tiny Wisp victory. Well played by Fnatic, and RoX.KiS just felt like they were boxed in. They never found a good home for the Treant in the laning stage, and they turned it into a 4-more against the Tiny Wisp, and that's just asking for trouble. So I think maybe should have been more aggressive early to mid-game. They were content to sit back and farm, but give Fnatic credit. They played really well. They snuck that first Rosh. Was a very smart time to do it, and RoX.KiS just had no idea what was happening. So guys, with that being said, that wraps up our 5th of 6 games for this evening, or morning if you're like me on the west coast of the US. Next up and last up will be Mouse Sports versus OSG. Of course, I'm LDB on the Summit. If you enjoy my casting, you can follow me on twitter.com/LDDota. Thanks for being a part of our day here at BTS. We have one more Starladder match coming your way. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with that final game.